demonstration is happening as we speak, and it's one kid at a time going across the stage all day long today.
Oh,
So,
wow.
Really?
yeah. How many?
How many students?
That's probably, I don't know, 175, something like that.
Wow.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah,
But,
All right, well,
you know,
My daughter's in 2 weeks, and there's 560 of them, and they're doing them one at a time.
oh, wow.
Wow. That's going to be a long day.
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool.
All
Yeah,
right,
we
well,
feel it's the principal.
Christine Bemis logged on. That means it's the official start of the meeting. We have our moderator here. We have our moderator, Christine
Hey, guys.
Racy here, so we're ready to
Hey,
go.
Christine. Hi, guys. Oh, Francesca Bryan, two of my favorites. I love you guys. Waking up side by side. Oh, I know. Fond memories, you know.
It is always fun.
Just
All
love
right,
you.
so we are going to get started, and I'm really excited to have the Buncee team here with us and showcasing some of the powers of the tool for really creating student voice, and that's been what our focus has been the last probably month with some of these Friday PDs. When way back when we had Mike Earnshaw talking about podcasting, and then we had Don talking about using videos, and we used Wakelet and Flipgrid to have student voice as well. And I wanted to make sure we had the Buncee team come on before the end of the year, so I had a chance to talk with Brian. I met the team about 4 years ago and utilized this platform in my last district and saw the uses that students had, the creation that students had, the voice that students had utilizing the program. And then as I started to do some more work nationally in promoting, books or articles, Twitter chats, I saw that I could use this platform for creating different types of professional cards, professional, almost business cards. I use it on Twitter to do Twitter chats. So there's more than just usage in a second grade classroom. So when I talked with Brian, and I've talked with him all year because it's definitely been something I've looked at, and Lori, who's here, I had a chance to meet in person in Florida at FETC, and she came into a session I was running, and she showed how all the students were using it and some of the things I'd never seen. So I wanted to learn more too. And as the year progressed, and then obviously pandemic hit and we were out of school, we're looking at different ways. But our big focus, and one of them in Leicester, is moving forward and using these tools to give students a voice. And within that, I wanted to showcase what Buncee could do for our students. So I worked with Brian, and I know there's other people on here that are not either currently clients, but I know for Leicester, we're going to have an opportunity to use this platform at full capacity through the summer. And then we can talk about if it's a good fit for us, how far moving forward and at what capacity. But for those out there who've never seen it or used it, on Sunday, like I always do with the updates, if it's something you're interested in, I'm going to get you to contact Brian or the team and work through that. So the way this is going to work is I'm going to have Brian really go in and show some of the background, some of the information, some of the real platform things about Buncee, what it is. I'm going to then have Lori jump in, and she was gracious enough to talk about, willing to share some about how her students are utilizing this. And then Christine Racy is going to jump on to show how she's been using it in her professional endeavors with publishing her book and different things. And I know there's other people who've used it on here, Christine Bemis and other people, that if you have suggestions, just throw it in the chat, because just because Christine Racy is going to share, she's also going to continue as the moderator. So also, as Brian shares his screen, or as people share their screen, if you want to change the view to presenter view or whatever to get a larger picture, you can do that too. And if you've never used Meet, it's in the bottom right hand corner. The three little dots allows you to change the layout. So
am I getting paid overtime with the dual roles today?
Are you getting paid overtime? Sure.
Yeah, just want to make sure.
You get double of nothing.
We'll have to put that away in the contract.
You get another sticker from Brian. All right, Brian, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Cool. All right, man. Let me go ahead and present my screen. Thank you so much for the opportunity today, Matt. And thank you, everybody, for taking the time to come today and learn a little bit more about Buncee. So, as you know, my name is Brian Gorman. I'm a schools relationship manager here at Buncee. Basically, how I came into Buncee was I went to school for math education at SUNY Cortland. I know Carl knows it. Upstate New York. So I was searching for a teaching job as a math teacher and sort of stumbled upon the opportunity here at Buncee. And I've been with Buncee ever since. It has been an absolutely amazing journey to watch, the tool grow and be with an amazing team. So, it's just been an awesome journey. So what is Buncee? Buncee is a tool used to raise your creative voice, a platform to sort of bring your learning to life. And that's what we do through digital storytelling, right? No matter what, we're sort of telling the story of our learning. And so that's exactly what Buncee is for. So we're to support your communication and learning goals at your school. We do this by giving you an easy to use creation canvas. So we'll dive into this a little bit, so don't worry about digesting the entire thing. But we give you access to all these different media options in one place. Matt and I were talking before this. The common sort of saying around Buncee is that it is your one-stop shop. We are COPA compliant. We are iKeepSafe certified. Carl, I know you're New York, so we're ERIE 1 BOCES approved and 2D compliant. If you're outside of New York, you may not know what that means. But essentially, your student data is safe with us. Marie is on the call. She's the CEO and founder of Buncee, and she is a mom. So she definitely takes student safety very seriously here at Buncee. So just so you guys are aware, we sort of check all those boxes, if you will. So we have some really amazing partnerships. And one of these partnerships being with the Young Women's Leadership School of Astoria, as well as Microsoft. And so what we had the opportunity to do was go into the Young Women's Leadership School of Astoria and sort of showcase how they've been using Buncee in addition to the Microsoft Immersive Reader functionality that we have within Buncee. So I just wanted to play this video for you in here.
The Young Women's Leadership School has about 63 languages spoken. We have students who are coming from across the world. Our students are born as digital natives, and we understand that every student is at different levels, and we have to think about ways to level them up. Immersive Reader allows the use of the fusion of digital technology into supplementing reading and literacy skills.
The fact that Microsoft and the Azure team have allowed Immersive Reader now to be available to tools globally, the possibilities are endless.
One of the students couldn't understand her peers, and she was very, very frustrated. So we gave her the slides from Buncee, and she was able to translate everything into Arabic. And she was so excited to be able to finally understand her peers and be able to communicate with them.
Using Immersive Reader, being able to communicate with others who don't speak the English language is really important because communication is key.
There's always a stigma with people with learning challenges like dyslexia, that they always needed extra help or they can't be with the rest of the students. With dyslexia, sometimes the words are too small or the words are too close together, whereas in Buncee, you could zoom in and it has it translated for you and it speaks to you and it could change the color. Buncee and Immersive Reader allows them to feel like they belong in a greater school community while also attaining academic growth.
Whenever I hear a story from one of our educators about a student that was facing any challenges that's helped by Buncee, it fills my heart. It really fills my heart now because having Immersive Reader in Buncee is, well, we're going to get a lot more of those stories because the power of the two of them together is just profound. We have a little bit of Immersive Reader love going on.
So just an awesome video. Marie is amazing to work with. So just wanted to show that to you guys and show sort of the vision behind Buncee. But something that Trinity says within that video that I really like is that communication is key. And that's really what we're speaking about, right? If students aren't able to successfully communicate their learning, how do we know what they're learning? And This was just an amazing quote that we heard from Sergi, who's a first grade student in Brooklyn, and actually used Buncee for the first time in a remote learning setting with his mom. And I don't want to read the whole quote for you, but we love using all the cool items, backgrounds, and animations. They all fit so perfectly together, right? To tell the story of his learning. So how do you tell your story of what you've been learning, whether it's a digital story, whether it's a math problem, and how you got to your answer? So Buncee allows all these media types, as I showed you before. So there's 34,000 plus graphics in our library. We create new ones every single day. So these are animations, stickers. We have 3D images. We have emojis for social emotional learning. You know, now more than ever, it's important to check kids' temperatures and say, you know, hey, how are you feeling today? Maybe you're discouraged one day. You know, quarantine just isn't treating you right. You know, to sort of get connected with our students a little more and build that relationship. We additionally have some messages in there too. Unleash your creative superpower, as we'll be showing you how to do today. In addition to our assets, we also have access to Pixabay images. So these are Creative Commons licensed images. These are free and safe for you to use. And you could go ahead and just drag and drop those from right within the Buncee platform. Additionally, I know Lori is a STEM person. We do have Khan Academy built within Buncee. So these are searched right within the Buncee platform, and just simply drag and drop a Khan Academy video.
The diagram at the left, I drew it up here above, or I pasted it up here.
And then on top of that, I could also record my own video in Buncee. So if I wanted to go ahead and display a math problem, hey, this is how you sort of do it, I could do that. Or I just wanted to connect with my students. Hey guys, this is Mr. Gorman. I'm excited to teach you today. We have some really great examples of some principals who send out some motivational videos.
Brian, I just want to jump in for a second.
Yeah.
So just because I saw a few of our science department here, and so you said showing how the math problems could also be used to show science experiments or different things on there, where they can insert their own like video of themselves doing an experiment, or the teacher could put something in for directions. Is that the case?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, it's a record video option, right? You know, if you want to do some sort of experiment and videotape yourself doing that you could very well do so. Additionally, you just triggered my thought here. You could take photos in Buncee. So I know some people do some plant projects in science. How are these plants developing? What different lighting do they need? And you could take a picture of your plant through a series. So just another idea there. But yeah, most definitely.
Just quickly, we have 2 students on Long Island that actually won the Brookhaven Science Fair, and both of those used Buncee. And how they did it was they created a Buncee. They put a QR code. The requirement was, as we know, usually the trifold board. So they printed out the Buncee, but they had the QR code. So then anyone who came to their station could play the Buncee and see all of the media in it. So the video of, you know, proving what they had done, and the audio, et cetera. So, and as Brian said, additionally, photos of progress. So yes, we've seen amazing science examples as well. Good thinking.
Yeah, and in addition to what Marie said too, a lot of people are in environments where their students may not have access to internet all the time, especially with remote learning. So that QR code comes into play with, hey, printing something out for the kids, and then maybe when they get internet access, they could scan it and look at the interactive Buncee. Or use a phone to access their Buncee as well. So it was great for even in those Brookhaven National Lab situations where, you know, they could go ahead and scan and just look, you know, from whatever device they're working from. Additionally to all of that, you could also ask free response and multiple choice questions within Buncee. So this slide is meant to sort of get your wheels spinning a little bit. Buncee is a one-stop shop. So with this is sort of showing different ways that you can utilize Buncee. Now, the coolest thing about working with Buncee and our community is a lot of the ideas come from our community. I can't tell you how much we learn from all of you. So, you know, these are some ideas, but every single day we're learning of a new way to use Buncee. We jump on with a teacher, they're like, hey, I use this. And you're like, wow, I never thought of using this tool that way. So it really is cool to see what our community and what the students come up with. But these are just some ideas of some different ways that you could use Buncee. we're here to foster the 4 C's of education: creativity, communication, collaboration, and critical thinking. What you will see is that students take great ownership of their work. So, we have this publish and share content. Now, you can share your Buncee wherever you would like, but the publishing piece sort of comes into play. Like when a student is creating something from scratch or from a template, it is theirs and they own it. And so in their sense, they feel as if they're publishing something. And so we've heard of so many students just doing such a great job with creating something in Buncee just because they're so engaged and because it's their creation. Additionally, now you can earn recognition with badges. And I have another slide going around gamification, which is our newest feature, where now you can sort of show off your badges, as well as tell a little bit of your Buncee journey story with daily streaks, where you unlock different parts of a story with Buncee Man, which is a lot of fun and great for engagement, as Matt was just speaking about. He's going to try to earn all the badges there. And then additionally, we can engage in discussion with one another, right? So we do have a feature called Buncee Boards, where we could go ahead and post Buncees and communicate with each other. A great project we have going around right now is Hugs for Heroes, where people from all over are posting Buncees to a board, and then they go ahead and thank the essential workers, just to shoot them a thank you. And I believe we have over 1,000 entries to that, which is really exciting. Now more than ever, you guys also need to save time and teach. And, from the get-go, teachers really don't have a lot of time. You guys have the X factor of students, where you never know what is going to happen in your day. They're sort of unpredictable. So, to give you a tool that's really easy to use is key for us. So we give you access to 1,000+ templates. We do have an IdeasLab, which I'll cover in a second, which gives you over 600 ideas that are sort of grab and go, built from our educators as well as ourselves. You can create and grade interactive assignments, as well as share and distribute resources amongst each other using either Buncee boards or our share tool as well.
Couple minutes, Brian, then I want to jump into either any questions or let Lori show some examples too.
Sure, no problem. So here's our IdeasLab. This is where you could search. This is that library of ideas created by our community and ourselves. So you could go ahead and search through different categories and different grade levels, as well as search on the top. So that's a great place to get started. Additionally, here's the new gamification feature. Create a Buncee a day. It keeps the doctor away. Unlock special awards, maintain streaks, track your progress, and collect them all. And I'll just play this short little video for you quick. This gives you some hints on this story. We do have a dedicated remote learning website as well. So this is going to show you different ways to use Buncee, either whether it's with younger learners, with parents, with any of these integrated tools here, Microsoft Teams, Immersive Reader, Google Classroom, Wakelet, or Flipgrid. And just to let you know, Buncee is just a link. So if you are using a tool that's maybe not named here, we likely could app smash with it as long as it accepts links. And I don't think there's many tools that don't. So just so you guys are aware, Buncee is a link, so it can be shared really anywhere. And then we have great partnerships with both Google and Microsoft. I know at Leicester, you guys use Google, so you guys are able to synchronize with your class rosters and share Buncees directly to Google Classroom. If you are a Microsoft user, we do have a ton of integrations with Microsoft Teams. We have Immersive Reader in there, as well as you can embed a Buncee into a OneNote as well. And then we easily app smash with these other apps additionally. So as I mentioned, we are a link. We can be shared anywhere, but if you are using some of these as well, we do app smash with those. And really, tech is all about giving students opportunity, right? Let's give them the opportunity to express themselves in ways maybe they didn't know they could, in ways that they are comfortable. And through those opportunities, through giving students the opportunity to communicate their learning, we could more so see their ability and what they're capable of doing and how they could build on. So this is actually a story of Ken. He's an educator in Laos. And what he did was he was actually working with a student who was selectively mute. He had really high anxiety. And so this particular student was not communicating anything that they were learning. So you can imagine as a teacher, not nothing written down, nothing, communicated verbally. How are you supposed to gauge what this kid is digesting in class and sort of put them in the right direction? So, he had given his student the opportunity with Buncee and then saw the ability that he had. The student started drawing pictures of what he was comprehending from class. Tan was amazed with what he was, getting from class. He was like, I haven't, because communication is key, right? So he didn't realize what the student was actually learning. And so through that, towards the end of the year, the students started writing sentences and then even paragraphs within Buncee and finding successful communication through that. And then finally, just wanted to share my information, whether you guys are at Leicester or elsewhere, feel free, that is my Google Voice number. It is connected to my cell phone, so you could go ahead and give me a call. I usually go to bed at like 10 at night, so if you call me after that, I might just call you in the morning. And then that is my email address as well.
So a couple things, and I also know, just because I've seen Ryan present, and this is typically about an hour and 15 minutes, so I did ask him to go a little bit quicker, because the two things that really near the tail end of that were important for me is seeing those different tools that we have shared here on Fridays that Buncee incorporates with Wakelet, with Flipgrid, with Google Classroom, and that is our core 4 essentially tools that this is able to incorporate with and seamlessly have that toolbox that can go pre-K to 12 with that all-inclusive learning in there. And then the second to last slide before we found out when Brian goes to bed was talking about the student, the teacher, and how the teacher is utilizing. And I think seeing it both, I saw, Christine Bemis is here. I saw in her classroom and in other classrooms. And then I saw a lot that Lori was doing with students in her role to supporting other teachers. And I wanted to pass it over to Lori, because I'm a huge advocate and I use it on the professional side more, but I don't use it a lot with students. And I wanted you to see somebody who does that each and every day with other teachers to showcase some of the things that she does so that our students in Leicester can have that opportunity.
As a way of reinforcing our friendship with Wakelet, their newsletter came out today, and they have a picture of me with the Wakelet team at the head of their newsletter. So we not only integrate with them, we love them.
Awesome.
Yeah. Awesome.
All right, Lori, take it away. If you want to share your screen, you're more than welcome to.
I would love to. I'd like to share some different ways that I've used Buncee over the years. So I started, just to kind of give you a background if you don't know me, I started as a classroom teacher teaching 6th grade English, and then I transferred into a tech integration role, and now I'm the coordinator for model schools at my BOCES in New York. So now my role is more professional learning, but I've been using Buncee in all of those different roles, and in all, whether it's with students or with adults, it really is that flexible that you can use it for any age level. I've used it as young as kindergarten. I've taught classes at a couple local colleges using Buncee as well. So it really is something that is accessible and something that is usable for whatever age group that you work with. So I'm just going to show you a couple actually that I pulled up here, ways that I use Buncee. I use it for Buncee for all of my flyers through BOCES. So anything that I'm scheduling to say, hey, we have training coming up on something, I'll create the flyer right in Buncee. I've used it to make weekly schedules for student work, as far as here's what to expect each day as you're going through. I've used it for parent newsletters, and I have a whole Buncee board of parent newsletters that I started when we went remote to kind of give parents different ideas, and it's 4 different ideas each week that just kind of says, here's some ideas that you can do that are low or no tech that you could do with your students at home, just to show a few there. I also have been doing it to keep my weekly stats as far as what we've done. So it's something that I share out with my BOCES and my coordinate schools that I work with. And
Lori, can I jump in real quick?
Sure.
So when you say you don't have to unshare.
Okay.
When you say you created newsletters, I just want to make sure that you're also in those. You have, it looks like you have links. You have, so it's not like you create it in Buncee, print it out, and send it home. You're sending home the digital newsletter, correct?
Yeah. So let me just pull one up here. There's about 30. I think there's 35 of them. So this is an example of one. I think the last one that I made. So it just gives parents a quick little blurb as far as what the activity is. And most of them, like I said, are pretty low tech or completely no tech, but you'll notice that on each of the images, there's a link, and that would bring them out to the resource. So that way it's just a one click and go. These are completely digital. I mean, you could print them out, but then they wouldn't have the link because I'm not giving them the web address. I'm just giving them that direct link. But yeah, the whole board has, 35 of them on there. And they're all different activities to really get students creating and exploring their world. It's really to kind of get them away from the screen, really, to do some different things. But then when they come back to the screen, they're using it as a way to communicate and a way to create, not just a way to consume. So that's kind of the purpose of these newsletters. And they were fun to make, so I'll keep going with them as long as there's a need for them. Let me go on to some other ones. I also use it a lot for templates. And what I mean by that is sometimes teachers are like, oh, I'm doing this project and I just want something that I can use for, you know, for whatever the project happens to be. And I had a teacher who was doing something with heroes, and Buncee has a great Buncee board, and I can share that out with you as well, where some other teachers put together all of these thank yous for heroes. But the teacher wanted to take it from a different direction. They were saying, we've read all these books, and each of the books that we read had a hero type of character in them. And so they wanted to do this as a project. And so I created this template for them as a way for their students to kind of do the work. And different teachers have used it in different ways. Some have kept it right in Buncee, just sent it out to their teachers, to their classes. Others have said, you know what, I want to put it into Seesaw because I want to record their voice as they're creating. Some have used it on a Jamboard. So you can certainly use it in Buncee and create in Buncee, but it certainly can work as an app smash to any other resource that you'd like. So I actually even presented this on a Nearpod, and the students did this on a Draw It slide. So you can do it on different ways or with different ways with your students.
Lori, real quick,
Yeah.
and then there's a question. Just because Brian used it and then you used the term too, when we talk about app smashing, can you kind of just talk a little what that means?
Yeah, app smashing is one of my favorite things to do because, I mean, all of these tools, especially Buncee, have some really great, rich resources that we can use in the classroom. But sometimes there's something you want to do that maybe, if you combined it with something else, it would just make it that much, greater. So for a perfect example, Marie mentioned her partnership with Wakelet. Wakelet is a great place for you to give resources to your students as a way to collaborate on work. It's a way for students to kind of organize their thoughts. And Buncee is a great one to add those images into a Wakelet. So you're taking what's already great, and now you're adding Buncee to it, and you open up this whole new world of opportunity. And that's where we're talking about that app smashing. It's taking something that's already good, but just making it that much better. Does that kind of answer the question that came in?
Yeah, that was more of just me just explaining that it's adding multiple tools into the Buncee, where you can bring in a Flipgrid, or you can bring in Wakelet, or the reverse. You can bring in Buncee into Wakelet, because one of the questions was around student portfolios. Is it better to have it in Wakelet or better to have it in Buncee? And I think for me, it's what you feel comfortable with the tool, because of the way you can app smash, you can combine apps. It's what you're comfortable is and how to utilize the tool for the whatever learner is there. And it could be one of each.
It could be. And I pulled up this one slide here because I did a whole workshop on using 3D Bear and Buncee together. And 3D Bear is an augmented reality app. And the students were able to create their video in 3D Bear and their images, and then drop them into Buncee to be able to stitch together a story. And the idea is that we know that, and it says it right on the screen, that visual literacy is incredibly important, and teaching our students to understand all of the different resources that are coming in, all the different information that's coming in, and how to process it and how to understand it. By using these tools, they can foster a greater level of learning. All right, what else would you like to see? I've got lots of different things. I'll show some different.
One of the things, would you mind?
Sure.
Just be a couple more minutes, and I'm going to switch over to Christine. But while you have I can see all your tabs open. One of the things that we didn't show yet, especially for our Leicester folks, what it looks like when it's not awesome like this. What it looks like from the start. Like, what is the
sure.
Like when you get those.
That's what mine are going to look like. This is a tough act to follow. So you can
when you first start in Buncee, your dashboard will be empty. I've created a lot of folders because I like to keep them organized. And I learned that from one of the Buncee, they do coffee talks with Rochelle both. And I saw somebody do the folders. I'm like, oh, I still have to do that. But when you start a Buncee and you actually just click the create, you have to, once you click on, you can choose from all these different templates that are there. I tend to do free from scratch just because I like to see what's new out there. But you can certainly take a template, which really will start it for you. Like the schedule one that I showed you, that was a template. I've created these calendars. There's some great templates for that as well. So if I click on the from scratch, when you first start, this is completely how your dashboard looks. And when I always tell the students, the first project I always do with students if they're new to Buncee is an all about me project, because I want them to research words that matter to them. So I'll tell them when they're picking a background to pick their favorite color. So let's say I said blue. And then I'm going to look at all the backgrounds that happen to be in the blue category. And then as I go through, I might find one that I really like. I love the ocean, so I might take the water. I'm happy to be near water all the time. So I can grab whatever background I'd like, and then I can start to add the different layers. So from here, I can start to tell my story. So now I'm going to add in the animations and the text and the stickers that really bring my story to life. So you start to build that way. And every time you grab something, like if I click on the Buncee animations, down the left-hand side here, you're going to see all the different categories. But for my kids, they love to use the search box right in the front at the top here and just put in something. So I love elephants. So I'm going to look up the word elephant. I'm going to see all these great elephants that are on here. I might grab a couple, and then I'm going to start to build. And you can see immediately it comes to life. It starts to have some motion to it, and you can start to build on your Buncee from here. And the more you add, the deeper you kind of go in that creation part of creating a Buncee. And I'll show you a couple. If I go back to my dashboard, I have like works in progress here. So let's see if I can go to one that, here we go. Work in progress. So these are ones that I've kind of started, but maybe I haven't totally finished. So I've done this one before and I'm just revamping it for an activity that we're doing. But you can see that you start to add in the different layers. The background was already something in Buncee. Then I added in all the images. I added in the animations. And as I go through each of the slides, each part of the slide is a different part of what they're going to do. And this one's set up like a hyperdoc. And so the students are going to go through and do different activities right on their Buncee. So they're going to have a copy of this. They're going to take out this 1, 2, and 3 and put in their top choices of places they want to explore as part of their activity. And then when they get to create, they're going to create a map, and then they're going to embed their map back onto this Buncee. As they're doing their country project, they're going to find some pictures with the sports and different things that they found interesting about their country, and they're going to put them on this slide. So as they go through, they're going to answer the different questions as you're doing this lesson, right? As if they're doing this activity. And students are really creative. I mean, there's one, if I can find it real quick here. I had a student who was doing one on wolves, and it was a second grader. And if I go down to one of the scenes, this one here, she wanted a nest, but the image that she looked at, the nests that they had weren't the ones she wanted. So she drew her own. And that's the other benefit of Buncee too, is even if they have tons of stickers. I mean, the chances of them not finding something that they're looking for is pretty slim. But if they don't like what's there, or they want to create their own, there is drawing tools right within Buncee as well. So you can do those matching activities that you'd like in here. You can do anything where you want them to draw a sketch. You can have them showcase a math problem at the steps that they would do. They can diagram, sentences, or label, a plant cell or an animal cell. You can do anything you want right inside of Buncee. I mean, I think Brian said it. Your opportunities are endless, with what you can do with Buncee.
And I agree. And I think if you could go back, or even on this one, if you click edit, to that board that shows all of them, like when you click the plus. So for me, that is what I have found that does have the reach. So when, in this case, Lori clicked it, but whenever you're building them, these are all the options that are built into the tool already. So you don't have to go find a video on YouTube. You don't have to go find a background. And I know when students are building in Google Slides, which we use and I'm a fan of, but in this case, the imagery, the 3D, one of the slides that Brian had, one of the Buncees that Brian had, was a virtual field trip. Can you click the plus for a sec, Lori?
Sure.
So one of them in here, I think, unless I'm wrong on this, is
you
the
can do 360 images.
The images, and you can find something that you're studying, and you can put in a 360 image and you can move it around and students can see it. And all of this is built into the platform already. So
I'm just going to
essentially,
make it big and show you kind of, I mean, it's messy looking, but we can get the idea.
yeah, no problem.
So
And
now
then-
once it's in, you can spin it around.
Right, so students can add to that, or students can comment. And if you, the other thing, and you won't see it in this slide, but if Lori clicks edit, or as she just did, at
Yep.
the bottom of the page, or not anymore, and
Bottom
you
of the
can see
page.
it says duplicate. So as teachers, sometimes we make a template that we really like for a season or a unit, and we put in a lot of time and effort, but we want to use that same build for the next unit. You can duplicate the Buncee and just change the intricacies. So,
Yeah.
Christine Bemis, how have you seen it? And I know you were new to the tool. Stop fixing your hair. You're good. Can you share kind of how your second graders, because sometimes we hear, well, our kids can't do this or they're too young. You have second graders. How's it worked with them?
Book reviews are great. They read a book or they read a poem, and then they create little Buncee and respond to that, and then they share it with their little groups. I'm really excited because, Lori, what you were just talking about, you were showing our slide. I use Google Slides in the classroom for parent communication and with the kids. So I'm now thinking, oh my goodness, there's so much more I can do. Like with the 360, the animation there, I'm so excited. So that's just one way.
Yeah.
If I could jump in, one way we've seen Buncee used with parent communication too is, say with your class, often some teachers will have either use the audio tool to have the students read what you want to share with the parents, or use the video capability. And then they always tell me that they're sure the parents will actually read it, or because they want to see if it's their child this week. So I just thought I'd share that.
Yeah,
Awesome.
and Matthew, you shared it in that email. You shared the Buncee board to the global book that Michael Drezick did. I had some classes that actually participated in that, and they were I think they were first. There was one first, one second, or they might have both been first grade, and they were able to record themselves reading their part of the story out loud, and they loved listening to it. They're like, play it again, play it again. They thought it was so fun to actually hear their voices on the screen. So it's a really nice feature to be able to add your own voice to it.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And I also wanted to showcase, because not only are we getting to use this in Leicester for our student creations, but all of our staff, we have accounts, which means we can utilize it as well. And I probably log into Buncee 2 to 3 times a day to do different things with that for different uses than teaching students. And someone that I see who's using that almost daily as well, through Twitter chats, through business cards, through, helping students is Christine, who's been on this to talk about student and staff wellness, but she also uses Buncee for that piece in her platform for that. So I'd love for you to show, if you wouldn't mind, some of how you've used Buncee on that aspect of being an educator as well.
Sure. I'm not sure I'm going to teach anybody here anything in addition to the amazing job Lori just did. But at least, as someone in administration and also, as a speaker and an author, I can show you that there are a lot of uses for Buncee for, communicating in that regard too. So I've never shared my screen on a Google Meet. So everybody say a quick prayer. All right. Can people see my screen?
Not yet. So if you go to the bottom right where it says present now, that'll do it for you.
Yeah, I already did that.
So there's a little screen of your screen in there. If you click that, there should be a pop-up
I got
that
it.
shows your screen. If you click that and click share, that should do it.
I got it.
While Christine's doing that, I know Christine does a lot with anxiety. She wrote that great book, right? SEL and Buncee really go very well together with the stickers that they have and the check-ins, and they have a whole thing of emotions. They have a whole section of emojis with different, that show different expressions. And we've done that with some students with just check-ins. They have little monsters. You'd be like, how are you feeling today? And you can kind of do check-ins with that as well.
And Francesca's actually working on a Microsoft course regarding Buncee and SEL, which should come out in about a month or so, I think.
If anyone knows Laura Steinbrink, her and I are working on a course for Microsoft in the Microsoft Educator Center on creativity and SEL. So stay tuned. But I didn't mean to cut you off, Christine.
That's okay. So are people seeing my screen now? Okay.
Yes.
So this is just an example of, I'm hosting a Twitter chat next week. And I'm currently in the process of building what we call cue cards for that. So if you look over here on the left, you can see all of the slides basically. And what I actually did here, the reason I wanted to show this one to you is that if you come here to the fourth slide, you'll see that it looks totally different. What I ended up doing was I went into my dashboard, and you have the opportunity to like duplicate an entire set of Buncees, so that if you already got kind of a layout you like and you just want to manipulate it. So that's what I ended up doing here. So I just went through and I changed the red banner here to a pink one. I didn't want to like recreate the wheel for myself. And then on top of being able to duplicate an entire Buncee, you can also duplicate a slide within the Buncee. So when I go to do my second question, when I'm done here, I'll just go down here and do duplicate page. And that will give me an opportunity to start from a very similar spot. And so that's something else that I like. Now, I'm not like a PC or a Mac user. I use Chrome. And so one of the things that I really like about Buncee is that I've found the ability to make it work with a Chromebook too. And so I know like a lot of students are one-to-one in districts, and the devices they're given are Chromebooks. So being able to preview these, so when you preview it, as Laura showed you, you'll see what it's going to look like, obviously. Sorry, as I plug the Chromebook here, it goes slowly. And then what I just do is like, once it loads up here, I just take a screenshot of it. And then I'll take a screenshot. You can see that it tells me that. And then I just go in and I edit the picture, and I just cut out the border here. And then that's the JPEG that I end up loading to Twitter. One of the things that I've done recently that people have really seemed to like is if you go on Twitter and you see like a lot of people post vlogs and videos, they have like this video and kind of like a border around it that has like hashtags or different things they're trying to plug. And I didn't really know how to go about that, and I found that you can actually do that on Buncee. So what I've done is I went in here. This was the first iteration of the border I wanted to put around the videos that I publish. And then I just simply duplicated the page and then added some text at the top and the bottom. And what I was able to do is I took a screenshot of this, edited it out so that it was just the slide. And then I went into iMovie and uploaded the photo into iMovie and then put a video as a picture in a picture. And that's how I used Buncee to be able to create a border for a video that I was trying to create.
And you use the shapes, is that correct? The shapes?
Yeah,
piece?
so like this pink that you see here, you just add a shape. So if you go over here to add, you come down here to shapes. I just added a square. So there's a little square, and then you can obviously resize it. And then you have the opportunity down here to change the fill color, to change the border color. You can also change the thickness of the border. So this purple that you see, or this pink that you see here, is just a square that I added where I used a white border and a pink fill. And then the blue is just, you can, when you first start, you can go in and change the background. So here, I'm just going to delete this square because I don't need it. But if you go down here to change background, so I think you were shown that you could put a picture in the background. So here are all your picture options. You can also just change the color of the background. And then when you pick a color, it will ask you if you want it to just be that particular slide or if you want to apply it to all of the slides in the Buncee. So that's how I got the blue. And then I just placed a pink square with a white border over it. And then you can upload any of your own images. So that's where I got these two images as well. I don't have a Mac, so when I use iMovie on a phone, it doesn't allow you to. I couldn't figure out how to add multiple pictures in a picture, so that's why I came to Buncee and created a card and then just uploaded that in there. So that's how I use Buncee. So here it again.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. So you got to see some of the background of it with Brian, some of the student uses, and Laura was showing some of the how-tos, and then Christine, how she's using it. So Brian, we did have a question. Kim, are you still here?
Yes, I am.
Can you just because I want to make sure in the last 10 minutes, if you have our Leicester folks have any questions or if people have things, because I want to really, you can start using this, I think, as of Wednesday, right, Brian? Last Wednesday, this week.
Yep. Yeah, 100%.
Hey, Kim.
Hi.
So I want to make sure your question gets answered because this is important to us and make sure we have it right on the back end.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be great. While you guys were talking, I was just trying to play with it, and all of the great options that you're providing, I'm like, Stonewall. I'm like, wait a minute, why is this happening? And I thought I had access. And so I don't have the ability to like see anybody else's. I can't get into the templates. So I was like, that's so weird because, you know, Dr. Joseph sent the link to us. So I went in just through buncee.com and it does allow me to do it. So, but my login is now in two places.
So Kim, you logged into lps.edu.buncee.com and logged in with Google, correct?
I did, yes. And that's where I don't have access. And then I logged into, I just Googled buncee.com, and that allowed for me to, the only difference was it asked what my role was. And so I said educator. There were two words. I don't remember what it was, but educator. And then I got in. And when you go to the top right-hand corner, like my little picture is different in each, but it's Kim Mason for both and Mason K at lpsma.net. The only difference is through Google, when I just hit Buncee, it said, like I went in to check the billing that, you know, it's labeled, and it tells me that I have a current plan of a classroom light trial and that it is good for 90 days. It will expire on September 10th. And then you want me to pay $10 a month.
Brian, they have a BSD, don't they?
Yeah, so that's the Buncee.com that you're going through. That's the public tenant. So stick with the lps.edu.buncee.com. That should.
That one doesn't give me a price. Like I don't even have a billing option under that one.
Yeah, exactly.
No. So Brian, can you just double check, maybe offline, just double check, maybe screen share quickly? Because Matt, you can log in, right, with your domain?
Yeah, I'm writing down your email now.
I can,
okay, thank you.
But just be assured, like as we work this out, that those templates will be available. In case
absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, everything will be available.
Good.
So for some reason, there's something there with your login, I guess. But we can have Buncee Man get right on that.
Yeah, good. No, we're on it. Thank you for asking. If there's other technical questions, Brian, I'm going to send out all of his info Sunday to everyone when we send it out. So you can just not past 10 contact.
Additionally, we have a webinar every day, and we have live chat 9 to 5 during the week. So we have a dedicated support person. We are there for you for any question. So
awesome.
Not to worry. Yep.
Oh, not worried at all.
Accessible.
Other questions you might have for either Brian or Lori or Christine about some of the things or Kim? Oh, you have a question.
I do, yeah. So I love the template option, and I'm wondering, is Buncee similar to Wakelet and other apps where like you can like somebody else's? Like I could go into Lori's and say, oh my gosh, this is great, I want to steal it. Are you able to do that in Buncee too?
Edu-borrow, no one's stealing.
I gotta work on the terminology. Thank you.
Depending upon the idea, Lori may have even shared it sometimes with us in IdeasLab. So our IdeasLab aren't really full lessons. They're like almost lessons, and if you like it and you feel like it can work for you and your students, you just click on it. It's automatically in your classroom. And we give attribution to the educators that have shared all these different ideas. So you can edu-borrow from IdeasLab. I saw someone during remote learning edu-borrow 84 lessons within a weekend.
Wow.
That's skill. I like
That's not
that.
a challenge, Kim. That's not a
I
challenge.
know. I feel like it is because I can probably go for 100.
But
Yeah, when I go in, that's
if it's helpful to you, that's what they're there for.
yeah, I appreciate that, Marie. I do. That was kind of my first glare that I was doing something wrong, because the Buncee Ideas Lab, from Matt's link to Leicester educators, it says no results were found and filter topics 0. So that something's not right.
So it looks like you searched a term actually in there. So if you see there's a blue term in there, if you X out that term that you searched, you should be good to go.
It says all.
There you go.
No, there's like.
Oh, wait. Not good all. Yeah, Bri, we'll do a screen right after this.
Yeah, most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no worries. I'm sorry. I don't mean to hijack this, but thank you for looking into this. It's interesting. That's all.
We're happy to have you hijack. Like the illustration there.
And any of the Buncees that I made, I always change the setting to copyable. So if somebody wants a copy, they can take it. So even if it's not in the IdeasLab, you're welcome to it. Just reach out if there's something you want.
And one of the other things that we can start to do in Leicester is having administrative rights. I can upload our logo. I can upload things that are very specific to our district that will come up within our domain when you look for stickers, or I don't know the exact, like you'll be able to search for our own graphics of the town commons or the high school mascot or whatever it is. Once we, utilize the tool, get comfortable with it, talk about going forward with it or not. And at that point, we can then upload our own images and search for Leicesterized history and different things too. Is that correct, Brian?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I'm also doing a session the week of June 24th into the next week. Matthew's doing a session too, but I'm doing one on Buncee, on creating digital storybooks on Buncee. So I'm sure Matthew will send that on, since he's doing a session for it's the Digital Storytelling Network through ISTE that we're hosting a summit.
We additionally, later this summer, either late July or early August, we're going to do a Buncee summit, basically different ideas and whatnot for getting back to school.
Awesome. And if you have questions, feel free to ask, or like I said, all joking aside, Brian is someone who, and Francesca's here too, but she's kind of hasn't jumped in. The two of them have been wonderful to use as a resource and to get back to you. And I think part of really working together is the availability and having those issues solved. So I know whatever the issue is you're having, Kim, will get fixed, and Brian will shoot you an email. And if we have others as we start to onboard, we'll make sure to get those worked out, because that, for me, that's been the biggest plus working with the team way back from when they were a 3-person table at Providence Pitch Fest. And I remember them there and saying, we're going to get 50 licenses and go from there. And they've been as available as they were when they were 4 people at the table in Providence, to now that they're flying to Britain and doing all these other things. So that is one thing I always look for with vendors, is how accessible and how they treat people when they make it to the next tier or 2 tiers up, wherever you see yourselves, and they will get back to you. So ask away.
Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, thank you, Matt.
Yeah.
Nice,
but it's easy to do because we love you guys. So we have grown through our relationship with you. It's through the collaborations and the conversations, and that we, as Brian said earlier, there's a saying, when you build it, it will speak to you. In our case, the educators speak to us. So we do see unique ideas that are shared with us, but we also then get unique ideas that we implement in the tool. So inside of Buncee are the brains of lots of educators.
Nice. So one last thing in the last 1 minute, because I always want to make sure we're respectful of people's time. Brian, I'm going to give you some work to do between now and Sunday morning, if you don't mind. So anything that you want me to send out. So Sunday morning, I'm going to send out email to our Leicester folks and the outside folks too. If there's information that, I know we only had an hour and this is like a half-day workshop, that if you want me to send out or specific to Leicester as we start to onboard, or the link to the coffee talks, or some of these things that can help us really evaluate if this is the fit for us and how to utilize it through the summer, that would be great.
Most definitely.
All right, cool. Awesome. Well, Lori, thank you for jumping on and sharing your ideas and amazing Buncees, and Brian, of course, and Christine for showing us additional uses and really going from pre-K to 12 to professional use. It's great stuff. And for our Leicester folks, if you have questions for me or Brian, reach out and we are ready to move forward. And if there's a few kinks, we'll get them worked out.
Awesome.
Bye, guys.
All right.
Thanks so much.
Everybody. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend.
Seeing you, Brian, Francesca, Marie.
Bye. Nice to see you guys.
Happy Friday. See you guys.
Yeah, thank you. Congrats to your daughter. Bye.